So just working on the old Toro zero turn, and I love the thing. I really do. You know, when something's really, really good, you got to find little things to complain about. And one of the little things I complain about is the ride. So this is a rigid chassis machine, rigid spindles, and a rigid mounted seat. And I've been looking, and the aftermarket suspension seat base, I found anywhere from like $150 to $300, depending on where you look and whatnot. However, somebody listed, why it came across my feed, I have no idea, but on Marketplace, it said lawnmower lift. And I'm like, that looks like a suspension seat base for $50, brand new. So I don't know, for $50, I'm going to chance it. I went and bought it. I'm hoping it lines up. They look pretty universal from what I found online. So I'm just taking the lawnmower apart, going to see if we can do that. So on the Titan Max, there were 2 carriage bolts going through this plate here against the motor, sticking through. So 1/2-inch nut on the backside of each one, and finagled the carriage bolt through. Actually, there's one right there that I dropped. But yeah, the carriage bolts mount through this way. So you got to kind of get your fingers underneath and around to hold them into their spot. But once that was loose, no big deal. The seat itself is bolted. It has studs in the rails. Again, more 1/2-inch nylock nuts, taking that. The seat plug for the weight sensor unplugged, and then it had some clips in line. They were pushed into some holes, and I just used my fork tool to pry those loose. And we're gonna get the seat base off. Also, I don't know if it was necessary. I think the weight of it just holds the front down. I didn't see any other fasteners. I did take off the floor plate, which also just lifts up. So you had to put the mower deck in the fully raised position, which is the pedal locked all the way forward. And then that plate just lifted out of place. So then I did that, folded this. I'm gonna get the other 2 bolts or nuts off of this seat base. And then we're gonna grab our new suspension seat base and see how things line up, if things line up. Okay, so it is off by like just that much. The holes line up widthwise, so I could move it front or back. Doesn't matter either way, but they're off by a little bit. I'm gonna set the other portion on my base plate and see if I have to drill holes there as well. But so far we got to drill 2 holes in the slider for there, and then we'll just set this down and eyeball these holes and figure it out. All right, so Oliver's been a good boy watching. The base required some cutting. As you can see, I've enlarged this opening in the bottom of the seat. These points pivot as the seat moves up and down. So in order for the seat to move up and down properly, we needed relief underneath it for these to swing. So I marked it from the top side with a paint marker, and then I've cut out relief areas, extending the opening that was already here. And then I had to drill new holes because the hole spacing was a touch longer. So I had to drill new holes there. And again, I had to drill new holes here because my rail was shorter. So I had to drill an extra hole on the rail there at each end. But it looks like it's gonna work out really well. Just proof of concept. I'll dust some paint on here. But yeah, and you can adjust your spring tension, which then gives you some sort of a softer ride, we hope. So at least that's the goal. This old man back could use any help it could get. So we're gonna get this stuff bolted back on and give her a test right after we dust some paint on it here. All right, just like that. So you can turn your ride adjustment for how firm or soft you want it. Make sure to plug in your seat sensor, your weight sensor, so it knows you're still on it. And I think it's time to try this thing out. So I gotta say, huge thumbs up. Major improvement. I mean, for your longevity and the health of your lower back. This thing was like super harsh, and it took a little time messing with the adjustment. Was able to finagle the spring tension on the seat. So I bottom out once in a great while, but I'm using the full range of motion that has to offer. If I bottom out a dozen times in the yard, that's a million less times than I was before. So I gotta say, it was well worth the $50. Had I known how much it would help, I probably would have spent the big money and bought this a long time ago. So definite improvement, definitely worth your time and investment. Thanks for watching.